you can use your phone. You know, you don't have to go get some camera and do all this other stuff. Like just your phone, great content, you know, sideways, vertical, either way, right? Do your thing, talk about what you're doing. Very simple content that's really engaging that people will really enjoy, helps showcase your craftsmanship. It's just literally like a wireless mic that plugs into the bottom of your phone. This one's USB-C, also Lightning.
The only other thing I'd probably add to it is lighting. Like it's important if you guys are filming content, like you can see that, you know, the light is on. If you're watching this anyway, I have lights that are facing me so you can see me. You don't want to have lights behind me.
Logan Turley is the co-founder and CEO of Trades, a builder at heart on a mission to shape the future of skilled trades.
With data-driven training and real-world certifications, he's connecting the next generation of talent with careers that can't be outsourced or automated.
Understanding that nowadays on social media, you might think, okay, I have to hire this shooter to come and film this really high polished video, but people are looking for authentic UGC. They want to see who, you know, the tradie behind the company is. They like connecting with people. That's the content we see most performing well. You know, we'll go out and produce an epic like GoPro style shot, and then we'll just do kind of a talking to the camera behind the scenes with the founder. So that hey, it's actually really much easier than you would think to do the content. A lot of this stuff, just in terms of some strategies, can be super easy in terms of the tools you need. $70, you could get literally everything you need shooting, you know, with an iPhone, things like that. And then just some, you know, top 5 things that you could create that are really easy, that kind of help separate yourself and position yourself as an expert, like you said. And then also give you a feel of the brand, right? Because tradies love to wrap the van and have their style. I mean, every time I'm driving around, there's different ones around me. The punctual plumber, and you know, you got the Superman that's kind of like a cartoon, right? And so it's just an extension of your brand where you wouldn't think so many people are maybe looking there. They might go to Yelp, they might go to Google, but this younger generation, I mean, 50% or more folks are immediately going social media to see, and it just kind of gives them that impression ahead of time before they give you the call, and you can get them a sense of, hey, we're you know, we work on some of the higher ticket stuff, or no, we do low volume quick fixes, right? So you can kind of set that expectation ahead of time with folks.
I'm telling you guys now that are watching and listening to this, if you do what we're talking about here today, your conversions will go up with your lead acquisition process. And I know it because for the last 12 years, we've been refining this process, and it works. It absolutely 100% of the time works. And the thing that you guys need to consider is beyond the lead generation, like the journey that that client or that lead will go on from when they become first contact with you to the point where they hopefully and ideally become a customer. Now, I can 100% guarantee you if you do this, it will work. The real question is, will you do it? And I can pretty much hand on heart say no, the majority of you will not do it because of a couple of reasons. First of all, you have some false beliefs where you think you're not capable of doing it. And second of all, you've got a bit of imposter syndrome where you think, okay, well, I'm probably not qualified to be talking about this kind of stuff. But I can tell you now, they're both bullshit and they're fabricated. So get over yourself and just get out there and do what we're going to be talking about, because it makes a huge fucking difference. So Logan, give us a bit of a spin on your background, because I know you've had some pretty cool stories with the whole GoPro kind of background.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, in terms of my background, I worked at Disney Interactive, building some, you know, digital tools, Disney.com. Back in the heyday of that, you go to the main site and link people everywhere. Then we worked on Disney Life, which became Disney Plus, which is a really huge subscription service now. So building a lot of that, building the content for there, and then went up to GoPro in, you know, Silicon Valley, the show. If anybody's seen that, I was kind of there during the IPO, the craziness of all that. You see a company like that where there'd be guys running down the hallway with a surfboard and all this stuff, right? And they're just all the different categories. And we worked to create pretty much like an editor network of all these folks who wanted to help level up in their editing game, but maybe they were passionate about surfing. And we would work to teach them how to be a good editor, how to shoot good content, because we needed more people, because there are all these people out in the world creating content. And then they'd get back from their surf trip, or, you know, they went skiing with their family, and then, oh, it doesn't look like the videos that I saw on the YouTube channel, right? I mean, kind of the when you have this really polished stuff, the average person can't do that. And so we built a network almost like an Uber for editors. That was, hey, we'll plug you together with someone who can do that stuff, and we'll create the educational materials to help level them up to be able to do that. So, we would take, you name it, some awesome creator from surfing to all these other categories and take their extra content, their loosies, right? And then we would level up some editors and people and teach them how to shoot, how to create their content. And so we had that kind of as our background. And then we had like a Netflix style digital app that we would put all the content on. So from editing and all that. And it was really interesting. Back in those days, we were kind of saying, hey, you have to have a human being do the editing, right? So, but then there was another team there that had an AI editor. This was 10 years ago. And it was like, oh, the human editors are blowing it out of the water. And now some of these AI tools for just a little day in the life video, CapCut, Splice, some of these others can make it so much more approachable for the average person. Hey, I shot my stuff, and then I went and did that. So yeah, that's definitely a piece of the background there in terms of shooting. Then I went and got certified, and I'm a cinematographer as a hobby myself. So definitely in the shooting and all that stuff of how easy it can be, but the first person view, all that stuff.
Cool. Have you seen that that YouTube? I don't know if it's a clip or a channel, but it's like GoPro versus real GoPro. And it's like all these epic like GoPro footage of these dudes like hocking off cliffs and like they using these huge barrels surfing and all this kind of cool stuff. And then it's like versus real GoPro, and it's like a GoPro sat on the ground like behind some dude putting into a cup and just all this like lame shit. It's so funny.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean that's kind of the thing. You see the most epic stuff, and then even if you do the surfing thing, it just doesn't feel like that. So we were trying to help people level up, and that's what was so interesting about the change in content. Is back then you kind of really did have this expectation that it needed to be more polished or perfect, right? Like in the early days of Instagram, it's like, oh, it had to have the filter and look great and all this stuff, and now things have just gotten so much more. People are expecting to see people just talking, explaining their passion, talking about what they're doing, that it actually makes it so much easier to be a creator these days and to, help your business, help people see the people behind the business and make the content yourself. It's not where you have to go hire an agency or, a shooter to come do it for you.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, and I think that's a big misconception. Like people just think there's so much more involved in it than there really is. And going back to what you were saying right at the beginning, there's people appreciate the authenticity of the fact that you are a insert trade, plumber, landscaper, builder, whatever it might be. Not a Hollywood, production. Like they like the fact that it's raw. It's kind of like why podcasts are so popular these days, because it's like it's unedited. It's just a conversation. It's not like. It's not like this highly polished, scripted kind of, piece of content, and people resonate better with that these days.
Especially it's the Gen Z, but even more so trending into the, the millennial folks, where it's like, I looked up some stats, like 80% of that group, they want to see the user generated content, and the really high polished stuff, they don't resonate with as much, right? So you could go out and pay some agency to produce this really, all these transitions and flashy and all this stuff, and then you're going to shoot a video where you're just talking into the camera, showing how you're passionate about your Milwaukee tool set, unboxing the van. There's a lot of this content like that performs better than even some of the most flashy stuff you might think. It's nice to have both to give people a little bit of a feel. Sometimes the website have some more of those polished videos that you do, but it's very easy to get started with some of these really simple videos. And I think what's so cool is that there's so many of the younger generation in terms of like some of the new apprentices and some of these folks getting started that will help get their almost their TikTok page together as like their LinkedIn or it's their like profile page. So we're talking with helping some of the new generation of tradies they can showcase their craft better than a piece of paper on a PDF, and they can sort of be able to present that to the company they want to go work for and showcase that they can do some of this stuff in addition to obviously their license and they have the certifications and stuff, but they can kind of show their personality and get a sense of what they can do more so than that can do.
It's like, I think at the crux of it, and I say this over and over again to guys, it's like, show me, don't tell me, like, how do you how do you back up your claim? And even in this world where there's so many like platforms and things like that exist, and I'm keen to sort of unpack some of these, you know, like the social media side of things, because truthfully, I see a lot of what people doing as kind of a waste of time, or maybe like maybe they're misled with the expectation that might happen, like would come as a result of doing these things, which can sometimes be demotivating. So we'll unpack that in a little bit. But I think essentially, you know, at the crux of it for you guys out there, what we see working very well as an agency in the interest of improving your conversions again. So I'm not talking so much about like, you know, just we're not talking about creating content for the sake of creating content. I'm talking about creating content that can help you take your leads through the sales process, qualify them further and further so that they've got a better chance of converting into a customer at some stage of that journey. And the like being able to showcase things, like back up your claim, like you can tell me what you can do or you can show me. And, you know, for years and years and years, we've just been banging on relentlessly with our clients about, you know, show project galleries, like showing completed jobs, things that you've done. And truthfully, it kind of sometimes feel like we're just nagging, you know, like we like fill in the form again, give us another case study. But like the reality is once we have those things like that live as a constructed piece of content, video or otherwise, like that lives on your website where you can send people links to show, not tell, like it really does have an amazing, like they can build that rapport with the individual. They can relate to it. They can kind of, oh, okay, that's like, you know, we sort of want what Bob and Sally have done, you know, and video is kind of like an addition on top of that. You know, it gives it some more power. You know, what we see the guys out there, like one of our clients, shout out to Zach, who's just doing such a great job now with like these walkthroughs, and we've been training him on this for freaking years, you know, and he's finally starting to see the benefits of it. Like as a bathroom renovator, like the before, during, and after snapshot of what a bathroom renovation looks like with his 3D design sessions and all this cool shit. Like it just means like people see that and then they come up against these other quotes with people that don't have it. And even if they're more expensive, they get away with it because they can prove that it's a real thing and they can show process and they can show results. And it's not like, you know, taking my word for it. So it's super, super powerful. And also I guess the thing that we see really obviously is the eco, and I talk about it all the time, like the ecosystem of search, right? Where you've got say an ad, right? Which is the first point of contact, for example, right? So people see the ad. Okay, cool. So then, you know, if it's something like a high ticket thing, say we're talking about a home renovation or, you know, something that's, you know, within the thousands, like realistically, most people are not going to pull the trigger on a $40,000 bathroom renovation off seeing one Facebook ad. Like
they're going to learn more. Boom, here's my checkbook, right?
Yeah, or they're going to do a bit of digging, a bit of research. You know, a lot of the time, especially if it's like a Facebook ad, it's a problem they don't even know they have, you know. So it's like, oh, that's a good idea. Whereas, you know, Google has a lot more intent, obviously. People are typing into search, oh, I'm looking for a bathroom renovator, whatever. So there's like a journey that you've got to take these people on to qualify them further and further. And if you're not doing that, you're a clown because you're just giving up these opportunities and you're doing the hard work initially to acquire the lead, but like the power in it is beyond the lead. And I keep saying this to, you know, to the listeners and viewers out there. Like it's not about the lead acquisition. It's about the sales process and it's about the, you know, how you can position yourselves as the expert from the point when they come into your pipeline to the point where they're ready to buy. And the best way to do that is is through content. And so that ecosystem is really powerful because essentially what we see is if somebody comes in through an ad, then most likely they're going to do some research and you need to have something that represents what you're talking about, backs up your claim, you know, positions you as the expert so they can see, oh, these guys are the real deal. And the social media side of things is very important, but I've been saying for years and I still believe it's true, like, social media is there to support the assets that you control. And what I mean by that is like we have these people for years and years, clients for years and years were, you know, posting every, you know, couple of days to say their Facebook page, right? They're putting these great videos up on their Facebook page. And they're like, I don't know why we're getting no engagement on this. And I'm like, well, I can tell you why you're getting no engagement on it. It's because it's fucking Facebook. And first of all, if you're not putting money behind it, it's a business, it's an algorithm. Like you're better off having the content created on your website, which you own and control, and then syndicating that out to different social platforms where you're driving people back to your website, which you own and control, which you can then move them through the stages of your sales cycle, not through something that, you know, is dictated by an algorithm, which you have no control over. So like the ecosystem is very important. People understand that. Like a Facebook ad campaign or a Google ad campaign is strengthened by the things that you do that surround that off the back of the lead being generated.
Yeah, absolutely. I think in terms of thinking about social media, it's really just the additional place where people may do research. You know, you just kind of want to catch them where they are, right? And people more and more, this younger generation, they're searching TikTok like they would search Google, how to fix my clogged, you name it, right? Or how to do this. And if you have some pieces of content that just happen to show up, you're positioned as that expert, right? They saw you giving an educational tip on, hey, you know, your toilet's running. You're paying a lot of money for that. Here's a quick way to fix it. Almost like it's a, you know, people love the lead gen download of a PDF, right? It's like, it's just a simple thing where you can kind of teach and educate some of these small pieces of content that reinforce that funnel, right? So you sort of, it doesn't have to be, hey, I'm going to do my post one every single day across every single platform. That's really not what need to have that much content. It's just, hey, pieces of content that are super local. When people are searching around you, that stuff will pop up. The nice thing now is these algorithms have all gone TikTok, where TikTok, they changed to where it wasn't about, hey, I got to go get all these followers. That was how it used to be. Hey, I got to make sure I have so many followers, and then those people will see my content. TikTok took one piece of content, showed it to one person. If they liked it or engaged with it, showed it to more people. So like every piece of content was starting to get seen by people. Instagram is now like that too. So it may feel like, oh, I don't need to grab all my followers and do all these things, but it's a great time to get started now because those algorithms have changed, or people who may have shown some of this intent where they're searching that on TikTok. These algorithms are incredibly popular where they might just start serving up your content and TikTok does the work for you, right? Mm-hmm. So like someone might be searching some of these things. And if you have this content that's already natively there, just these simple before and after videos, educational videos highlighting, you know, some specific things, that just helps them into the funnel, and you can have more and more content. The great thing is if you create a piece of content that you put on your website, it's very easy to, you know, kind of put it on social as well. Or you create it and you put it on social. Hey, let's reuse that as a part of the funnel to show some of these before and afters. I mean, the before and afters are really the most powerful ones, and the more disastrous they were before, the better the content. Right? Like the worse the electrical box looked when you got there, and then it looks the craftsmanship afterwards, right? Or the deck, how bad it looked, and then how wonderful it looks after. And it's so much easier to do the before and after now than it doesn't have to have all these transitions and all this stuff, right? I mean, you can wear. I have some show and tell. I can show some tools of the things you can actually wear that are just so easy. You know, you just wear it while you're fixing for a little bit, right? And then you can throw that into an editor. And that just adds to the funnel, like you're saying, right? You can't control where someone might discover you at the end of the day, right? And you know, at least what the trends are showing, a lot of folks are looking on social media. They're going to go check out the page, right? Make sure it's on your site, but just that there's a little bit of content there too, so they can get a feel of the brand, what you want to represent. Punctual plumber, like I said, is that kind of your style? Is there, you know, are you kind of doing more of the volume stuff or more of the high end stuff? Like people will get a feel for that really quick, actually, from the content that you're creating to say, oh, okay, I am thinking about a more, you know, expansive remodel. These are the people to go to, or oh, I'm just doing a small thing. It may not be the right. So you're qualifying leads ahead of time, right? By showcasing the types of projects you do that helps not to get a call for some, you know, I got a doorknob that needs fixed on my door when really you're doing a remodel. That's your business. You kind of want to pre-qualify people in that way.
One of the things that we see like super powerful, and this is where, and I'd be keen to get your take on this as well, but you know, like in the interest of helping you guys out there get started, like I always get that way. Where do we start? You know, we've got all this built out now, academy even, like where to start with content. You know, like typically I say to guys, without question, there are probably 5 to 10 questions that you get asked over and over and over and over again by every customer that walks through the door. Like that's where you start with content. You answer those questions using like with a video. So then you never have to answer that question again. And in the lead up, to them becoming what in the lead up to them even having a conversation with you in a perfect world, they've seen those videos, they understand that, they're further qualified, they've removed that obstacle, and then they're ready for a higher level conversation when they actually eventually do get to you. And that's normally what we advise people. So I'll give you an idea of what that looks like practically. So, okay, lead comes in. So I'll run you through one of the processes that we actively do for like one part of our, the sales pipelines that we work with, because we will generate leads for clients and we will manage their leads for them, and we will be sending content to those contacts on behalf of that customer, throughout the different stages of the journey. And one of those things would be, okay, if a lead comes in and then they're booked in for a discovery call, okay, this is a video which explains what's going to be happening in your upcoming discovery call. Okay, cool. So then you send that to them, so they watch the video, then they know what is going to happen within the discovery call. So they understand, okay, well, they're going to ask these questions. These are the things that, this is like the expectation. They're going to run through some pricing and, give some estimates and blah, 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 whatever it might be, right? So essentially when you get on that call and they've seen that bit of content, great. They know what they're coming to. And the same deal for a site visit. If you're booked in for a site visit, this is what's going to happen in your upcoming site visit. Video that talks them through that. And that then, they're further qualified when they get out to site and they know what's going to happen and what's coming. So there are little things that you can do there. And then I guess supporting that, examples of projects that you've done. Like it's okay to, like when you showcase jobs that you've done, like you're trying to help people identify, okay, does this company do the type of work that we want done at our location? And if the answer is no, then that's also a win, because you're saving everyone time.
Yep.
You don't absolutely have to please everyone.
Yeah, I mean, it's a really easy place to start. Just aggregate all of the biggest questions you get, and then you're filming yourself. And I think that's what's so, empowering now, is that the video does not even have to be so fancy and polished of these edits, talking about, hey, the top 5 things. You can hold it and talk to the camera and talk about these things, and they'll get a sense of you, who you are. Hey, these are the top 5 things I usually hear in these, the questions I get. Here's the top 5 things that can, affect cost. Have that quick video, right? And then there's other projects that you've done where then you can film just wearing just a first person that you've worked on some projects. You just show some before and after. And I think between those two, that's really the sweet spot where they get a sense of who you are and the brand and what you guys look for, the types of problems you solve. And then here's some additional content that we've created that showcases that type of content or those types of problems that we solve.
One of the biggest things, the best feedback that we get from our clients is when their clients come back to them and say, the reason that we went with you is because you clearly have a process. And most of your competitors, guys, don't. And so what I mean by that is, like, if somebody comes in to an established pathway where it's like, okay, first step is discovery call, second step is a site visit, third step is this, blah, 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 whatever it might be, and it's actually a well-defined, documented thing with supporting content throughout that journey, it's a chalk and cheese experience. So the guy that just like takes the phone call and books a site visit and rocks up and just asks all the questions while he's there, then comes back to you 2 weeks later with a quote and never follows up. So like the process is important. Like it communicates professionalism, and it really positions you as an expert within the space that, you have a defined process for various things. And that is a relief, because like customers want, comfort, and they want to be able to, they want to, be working with somebody that is professional and that has these kind of things established.
Yeah, and especially it's the higher the price point, right? The bigger they're thinking about, maybe this is the right thing to do, and the more assets you can provide to them while they're on that journey, going from discovering about your company, what you do. They can be different types of media too, and I think that helps. Different people might want different things, right? Like one could be a blueprint or a document that says, hey, these are the top 5 things that impact costs, or this is why you typically would go with us with some testimonials. Some people may want to read text, but for other people, it might really be nice to see, the tradie behind the company talking about, hey, this is what we do. These are what we're passionate about. geeking out about some of the tools, the things you get excited about. That's the stuff more and more people really like to see, and it helps them. On the bigger the cost, they feel like they're taken through this guided tour almost of the brand, of the company, why it's better than a different one, especially the higher the price one, right? They kind of expect to be walked through, and it's a huge difference between, hey, I called somebody and it was a guy on his van, and I couldn't hear, and it was just late, and then he said he'd stop by later. I mean, it's like night and day versus these different multimedia along the funnel that you can kind of consume. That just gives you a different perspective of what the company's like, and you can highlight the types of people that are on your team too, certifications they have, right? Like those are also things that give people comfort. People coming over, like, in the States, it's like every truck's out licensed, bonded, insured. That's like the big thing with the ROC license number. Having that type of stuff, it's just added comfort that people have, right? Like if you're just providing a list of that stuff, even seeing, the tradie behind the company, the founder of the company, going on a podcast or going on something else, you could say, hey, have you seen our spotlight on the local news? And that's an awesome thing to send. And when you have that, plus just a range of multimedia where they can just get this raw sense of how you are talking, you could do some before and after, the document, the more you can kind of hit them with those different touch points. You're just making sure the different types of people, you're giving them, maybe what they'd be looking for, that comfort to get to the final point to say, yeah, this is the company that makes sense for, my full house remodel or something.
Yeah, I mean, you raise a really good point, and it's like we saw this sort of segue over the last maybe 10, 12 years where businesses would, back in the day, they'd want to position themselves as these big companies, like corporate style. Oh, we're targeting, like we want to be seen as like a company that's got 100 staff kind of thing. And then, so they would want to do things like, we don't want to put faces, or we don't want to put people like the team members on the website, and we don't want to do all this kind of, about us pages and all this kind of stuff. And it didn't take long before they realized that was a mistake. Like people want to engage with people. People will like to see who is coming to their home and who they're letting in. But they like to see team bios. This is Cade, and this is what he's interested in, and this is, blah, blah, blah. Like this is stuff that people like to resonate with, and they like to let someone in the house who they're familiar with. I mean, put your your wife with little children at home, as an example, like someone knocks on the door, if they know that person, they know what they look like, they've got the name tag and all this kind of stuff. Like it's a barrier of resistance they don't have to overcome. Whereas otherwise they're letting some, giant, guy with a beard into their home who they've never met, who's saying they're the plumber. Like it's just little things that they may not verbally voice, but it's definitely playing on the subconscious. So there's little things that you can do there in the space of content, which can remove that. And I absolutely encourage you guys, like put a face to the business. And whether you're comfortable in front of the camera or not is completely irrelevant. Like you've got to put yourselves in the positions of, your customers. Like they want to know you. They want to know the business. They want to know your story. They want to know the team members. Like they want to build that into your branding, because it's super important.
I'll just say I feel that too. As someone who's a founder and approaching this world right now, that it's like I use this reference. He's an Aussie, Russell Crowe from Gladiator, right? It's like it needs to be you, right? But you don't want to be, and that's why it should be you, right? Like in terms of like, even if you're the tradie behind it and you just want the brand to be that, in this world, people want that trust. They want that connection with who you are. And you step into the spotlight for a few, create the content, right? And then after it's already been created, you have a funnel. You don't have to be doing it all the time. You don't have to turn yourself into an influencer or something, right? But you just have to show up, create the content, highlight who's behind the company, and because that's just what people are resonating with right now. And it's nice though that it's not like people are resonating with, hey, the people behind the company, but very polished. It's got to look nice, and that stuff performs worse than when we're seeing like just the pure talking to the camera, who's behind the company. That's what's actually resonating the most, right? Where it's like, hey, even if you feel like this is not me, I'm not some influencer, right? It's just showcasing who's behind the company, who's behind the brand, your expertise, all the things you've built before, but then also showing what you're passionate about, like highlighting like I said, the unboxing of the van is like some of my favorite videos that tradies do, right? Like, hey, here's my entire van of Milwaukee tools, and highlighting that, what your team gets. They get that type of tools if you come work there, right? And so I think that's just one of the things you can kind of look at it as just part of running the business is you just step forward for a bit, record that content, make sure it's there for the funnel to be able to see who's behind the brand. And then it can live on, right? You record the content once, it's there. It's not like you have to go live on camera for every lead and, give the spiel. It's kind of create the content, do the before and after, keep them, consistently updated. Once you've kind of created a good base of doing some befores and afters, highlighting the team, some of these things, it can be every other week kind of creating some content. And then the reason I kind of use the Gladiator references is like, hey, people need to see the founder, you step up and then you give it back to the people. It can be your team that shows up on a lot of the content and starts to get to know the other team members, right? So it's like, that's a way you can look at it too, is, hey, you step into the light, just show people who's behind the company and then start highlighting who's on the team. Like you're saying, hey, this person's going to come over to your house. Here's what they're about, right? Like here's the things they do. It really just helps people connect with the type of company you are and the type of brand that you have at the end of the day.
I think, like you touched on something there, which is important. Like you shouldn't go into this expecting to go viral, and it's not really what it's about. We're not talking about that. Like this is not a conversation about how to create viral videos. This is a conversation about how to create useful, relevant content that resonates with your ideal customers. And at the same time, saving you time and energy by doing this once and never having to have that conversation again. And it's kind of like, I tell people, it's kind of like creating systems and SOPs for your customers. So, you'll create processes within the business which teach your team what to do. This is about creating content which teaches your not yet customers what to do. Like, this is what's going to happen next. And that's kind of how I pitch it to people. And it's amazing. And I've said this a million times and I've seen it a million times, over and over again within the content space where we try and get I've stood there in front of clients of mine while they're talking to their clients, and they will talk with complete conviction and authority about the thing they are there to do, face to face to them. And then you go and hold up this little gadget in front of their face and they clam up and turn into little schoolgirls. And the difference is that one of them's talking to a person, one of them's talking to a device which you can edit. Like, it's amazing. So it very much is a mindset thing, and it's like a fabricated fear, which is complete horseshit, which they just need to overcome. And
I can give there's some things that are so interesting, right? It's like there's teleprompter tools, like teleprompter app that, hey, because that's really the thing, you talk into the camera, you'd be surprised. You can write your whole script. It makes it so much easier. Hey, if you're just one of those people where you want to, because talking into the camera really makes a big difference. You can tell if someone's kind of looking over here, but just talking into it, that's really the type of thing people want to resonate with. And it's not about going viral. People can just feel that connection when you're talking. Getting a teleprompter app, writing out the script of what you want to say, just talking about the build, here's what we did, just record while you're reading. It's actually very straightforward. I've done 3-minute videos that would have taken forever to kind of memorize, or you'd have to edit parts. You just can kind of read through it. There's a list of a few of them that really make that part of it really easy in terms of doing that. And you can have things where, I don't know, give the apprentice the camera, right? To be able to film you talking, right? While you're doing something else, that just capturing you in moments, these behind the scenes capturing things, that it just doesn't have to feel so much. And I get what you're saying. It's like people say, well, I'm not an influencer. I'm not trying to go viral. I don't even want to be creating content, right? I want to be fixing people's issues they have at their house, making it look nice. But it almost just view it as kind of part of helping your leads get more comfortable with you. And it's a operating procedure. Set it up once, set it and forget it. Some of these pieces of content that you have, they live on for a while. You want to get new ones, but they do live on, right? And it's not about the viral moment.
They live on in a number of ways. And one of them is that you can make them evergreen. And basically, for you guys out there that don't know what that means, like you can create a piece of content today, and that piece of content can go out to every single person that comes into your sales pipeline forever. And you've done it once. That's called evergreen. It's like it's always relevant. It's always existing. It's always, it's always current. And then you can add to that cadence. So another example would be like a weekly newsletter where you create 52 videos or one big video, and you snip it up, break it up into 52 little bite-sized chunks or whatever, and you drip that out once a week to your database. And then anyone that ever comes into that is constantly seeing video number one as part of the next set of videos to come. So it's just leveraging your time. You know, it means that you just don't have to have those, like we said already, have those same conversations on repeat, you know, about the same things. So I thoroughly encourage you to, you know, guys, put this into practice. From my point of view, and whether I'm guessing you kind of agree with this, Logan, is like the best place to start is answering questions that you always get asked. So that's like a bit of a no-brainer. It doesn't always, and I encourage you guys as well, don't always think, and I get this all the time, it's like people like they want to showcase the finish, but they don't necessarily think that it's super relevant to showcase the journey or the beginning. And I'm like, it's all about the beginning of the journey, because within the beginning, and especially the journey, you have the opportunity to, you know, identify obstacles that you've overcome, and like how you showcase proactive thinking, and again, positioning you as an expert. Like the before and afters are great, but I think so much of the power lies in the middle.
Yeah, and that's really where you can help communicate the craftsmanship that goes into this process, right? I mean, I think there's just this understanding people can get from everything that goes on, the intricate craftsmanship that you can film in these really easy ways to do, to just kind of highlight the in-between moments that really help, instead of, hey, here's one picture of the, you know, the deck, and then here's after, right? But you could show all the work that goes into it, the different team members, all that stuff. It helps to elevate the conversation of pricing, right? Because then they understand the hours, all the things that go into it, that it helps to just be able to show those things. So yeah, the easiest things are, hey, take the top 5 issues that I typically solve, do a piece of content on fixing one of them. You know, that's kind of like a freebie, an educational, the easiest, simplest problem you'd almost rather not get the call for when it's that easy, or just give it away, right? Like, hey, here's how to, when we have a filter that needs change, look how bad that is. Take care of your systems a little bit better, right? Start there. Really easy piece of content, educational in terms of, hey, kind of working for the social stuff. Then there's the funnel that you create once. Hey, here's all the questions I've ever been asked. Here's what, take the 5 things that impact price, put that into a little video, and just so people know before they get on the call with you, there's something about the brain that's nice to have this expectation of, okay, well, I have this, and this, so my price is going to be a little bit larger, right? Then hey, they just get there and get hit with this big number where they're kind of startled, or, oh, well, at least if they can understand, well, my project includes these 4 things. By the time they get, it already helps do that qualification for the types of the project you're going to do with them, that it helps them do that.
I think as well, like, and that's another sort of misconception which we try and overcome super early in the piece with, you know, customers, especially guys that are doing like big project-based, you know, things, or truthfully anything really. Like, look, the earlier you can raise the pricing conversation and like the investment conversation, the sooner you can cut through the bullshit. And like, if they're there purely for price and you're not price driven, you're quality driven, fantastic. Get that out off the plate. And if they leave, great. Like, you've just saved yourself all this time and energy. So we like to even have our clients put that into case studies. Like, this is a case study of a home renovation that we did in blah, blah, blah. This is what it cost. This is how much time it took. Here's a video where I run through the project and, you know, all the different things that we had to overcome. And then it's all broken down with, you know, with written content as well. There's a testimonial from the client, blah, 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 whatever it might be. But like, just lay it all out, because at the end of the day, like, people, especially if you consider like some of these smaller renovations like kitchens and bathrooms, like, people will just like rock up and think they can get a bathroom renovated for 15 grand because they know a guy that got one renovated for 15 grand, you know, like, they don't understand the dynamic of it. So one of the pieces of content that we get our clients to do is, okay, well, this is how we price our bathrooms and why we're quality driven versus price driven, and what that actually means, and address that conversation early so that people go, okay, well, I need to budget on 35 grand for a bathroom renovation because that's typically what they cost. And here's a bunch of supporting case studies on other bathroom renovations, which range from 30 grand up to 100 grand. Like, help them educate around that, because there is a level of ignorance there. They don't understand. And truthfully, they shouldn't understand it. If they've never done it before, like, of course they're not going to understand it. So you have this like opportunity and truthfully an obligation to position yourself as the expert by teaching them these things, which can then further and further qualify them to the point where they are more ready to purchase.
And a lot of the social content that you can create sets that tone already, right? So
Sure.
like if they see these projects and we're saying 160 hours later, you kind of do like a before and after some of these things. The brand you're setting already sets that tone, and then you kind of continue to feed them the case studies along the way, where by the
Correct.
time you have that conversation, they're already there. They've made sure their budget works. Like by the time we're really having that conversation, it's great. Or they see, or it's more aspirational, right? Like they see the type of stuff you're doing and think, well, that seems great. I got to make sure I save up to be able to do that type of a remodel. If they can get that feel from when they find you on, Instagram or some of these other pieces of media where they just see you come up, maybe you're creating educational content, or they just see some of these really cool behind the scenes pieces of content that you've done as they're exploring, they can get a sense that, hey, you're not just there are people that want to do just lower price volume. That's great. You can make good money doing that. If that's your brand, you can kind of highlight that, make your video showcase how quickly it can get done. Hey, just flat rate, those types of things, depending on what you're doing. And people just already have an expectation now, because you can't control that they're going to search your social media at the end of the day, right? I mean, you can't control that, and they're going to. And it's better to just have some repurposed pieces of media that you've kind of created for the case studies there, so they get a feel for it. They kind of already know before they get there.
Like
Just give them that sense.
Here's a prime example, like a client of ours who quoted a bathroom renovation job, but they missed something, and it ended up costing them a lot because it was a structural thing. So they went out to this job. They missed it. They missed in the spec, or I can't remember what it was exactly in the brief. The clients wanted to put windows, into a bathroom there, and like that's a big deal, right? Like you got to cut these windows in. You've got to have it structured, like it's got to have structural integrity. So you need engineering and all this kind of carry on. And they missed it, and I was like, "This is yes, this has cost you, $6,000 or whatever it is, which has come out of the product. So you have no profit on this job at the end of the day." But it doesn't have to be a complete loss. Like if you created a bit of content around this, like how I missed a $6,000 part of a $6,000 aspect to this quote, which cost me all of my profit, and like that is a good bit of content there. Like you could talk about this thing that you slipped up on, and why it's important for people to consider things like installing windows and moving penetrations in the ground, for moving the toilets from here to here, and what the costs are involved in that, and all these different things which are not obvious, but it's super important. And then when people understand that, they go, "Oh shit, yeah, well, that's right. Actually, we did want to move those windows, but now that we know that that's going to cost an extra $10,000, we probably don't." Like, so on and so forth. So
yeah, it's almost like taking the biggest things you want to get ahead of, right? That you want to make sure people know before they think about doing something. You don't have that conversation way further along the line. You could make that pieces of content like why doing this is going to cost you this much money, right? Like
yeah, exactly. Shitty waterproofing,
so
less quality waterproofing. Why we choose this one every time, and we don't apologize for it. Like those little things. Or we had one client's a roofer, and it's like, we only use this gauge of roofing metal. It's a little bit more expensive, but it's a better quality product, and we won't use the other one. Like that. It's just, it helps people understand, okay, well, these guys, they want to do, they're not interested in like getting shit done and getting out of there. Like they want to make sure it's a good product, and that it's, like it's the best finished product that it could possibly be.
Yeah, that's some of the best content you just described, honestly, is, hey, here's why we use this brand. It's more expensive, but here's why your systems are going to last a lot longer. Well, let me show you why, right? And then you could show, it's really great to show a system that didn't have that, right? Okay, hey, this is what your system might look like if you didn't have this quality. And people just already have that expectation. You can help let them know this is why you use quality tools. This is why you use quality ingredients, these types of things that people already know, and you're not going to be thought of as, oh, the low-cost provider. I'm going to be nickel and diming you, trying to get price lower. That stuff's really great to create and put up.
I mean, there's dynamics there that play into that content, which actually fuel the conversation in the space of, okay, well, listen, these are the reasons why we don't use these solar panels and these inverters, because their warranties are terrible and they break down. They don't have local support. Whereas we use this one, it costs a little bit more. It's got a great 10-year warranty. It's locally supported, and and it comes with all these guarantees and all that kind of stuff. Like those little things, again, they're not obvious, but if you don't tell them, they'll never know.
Yeah. So I'll give an example here of, this. We looked and spent a lot of time to go find the best tradie creators out there, right? We have like a list that I'll always give people this list who to follow. There's this guy, Solar Goat. He installs solar panels, like you're saying. He just wears, I can show you, this is kind of a tool, right? Very easy, just like this little necklace, right? You put your phone on this thing, put it like this. This is $20 on Amazon, right? He wears this while he's doing a solar install, so you just see his hands. He's just narrating, talking about why these panels are crap. Don't get these. They have, really bad warranty. Don't do that. I mean, it can literally be that simple, and it's really engaging content. Like, you just kind of listen to him, get his personality, him riffing, those types of things, and it could be that simple. Like, you pick what that would apply to. You're sitting there pulling apart a deck. This is why I would never use this. And you're just literally pulling it apart, wearing a simple first-person thing, talking, and you actually don't have to be on the camera for those, right? But they get a sense of who you are, why you prefer these fancier tools, those types of things. And I think that's that's a really great one to do. Hey, just highlight your personality, your preference, your passion for Milwaukee, why they're so great. You literally got your first-person view, and you're just fixing something. Talking while you're fixing. I mean, this is just really great pieces of content to add to the brand, that by the time you're getting to the very focused funnel pieces that you're doing, people just already have that expectation. They already kind of know you, and it just really, really helps have those conversations of, yeah, let's go with the higher end provider. I know they use better tools. I've seen what happens if you don't, right? Or those types of things. That can be a really approachable way to create some fun content that helps separate your brand and elevate it for those.
Yeah. I mean, I hadn't seen that thing before when you showed me last time we spoke, and I was like, that is super cool. I went on the Amazon, had a look around. There's a bunch of different options for it. But for you guys that are listening, it's essentially like a necklace that you clip around your neck that the phone straps to the front of it with one of those, what do they call that? Like smart...
It's just the magnet that's on the back of iPhone has them. The MagSafe. I don't know what it is. This triple magnet. Yeah.
Essentially, you can just film in front of you what you're doing. I think the best types of content like that I've seen involve, like, if you're going to do that, that's great. But then maybe just at the end of the video, hold up the camera so you are talking to it and say, hey, this is a video I've created on a problem that we saw with a deck that was infested with termites. I'm just going to walk you through it actually with me filming as I go. And it gives you both your hands. You can actually, you can move around. I think that's a big problem as well. Like, a lot of people, like, it's hard to sort of work with one hand while you're filming yourself do the thing. But I mean, I encourage you to, like, I mean, maybe you're going to unpack some of these things a little bit now in the space of some of the hardware, but it's sometimes nice to have a little tripod that lives in your car that you can just position on a wall and film yourself replacing a hot water heater or whatever it might be.
I have some showing. I have like 3 pieces of tools. Like, that's it. That's all you really need to be able to do content. So that's one. That's like just a necklace. It's got a magnet. You can put your phone on. That's what's great. You can use your phone. You don't have to go get some camera and do all this other stuff. Like, just your phone. Great content. Sideways, vertical, either way, right? And people will do that content just like you said. Hold it. Give a quick overview of what you're going to do. Put it on the holster and just fix. Do your thing. Talk about what you're doing. Very simple content that's really engaging, that people will really enjoy. Helps showcase your craftsmanship. And then I have another one here. It's like just a simple tripod, but this thing extends way up. So you can literally just set it on the ground, far away from you, point it at you, and also kind of similar to do that thing. The actual real, if you like, the more you get into the content, is like the best way to do it is something you film it twice, but you film part of it while you're wearing it, so you can kind of do the first person, and then you just leave one here and film parts of it back there. And because then you can kind of go back and forth between them. That may be a little bit more advanced if you're working with people, but then it doesn't feel like you're even wearing a camera, right? Because then if you can splice between, hey, this shot here and this one over here, that's like the secret to first person view. Because sometimes if you watch just someone from the first person with their hands for a while, it can be a little bit jarring for some people for the long time.
And it lacks.
But if you have, go over.
It can lack perspective as well. Like, it's like when you see videos of, like, guys surfing and you're like, it looks okay. But then you see a zoomed out version and they're actually from the beach where they're in the barrel. You're like, holy shit, that was a massive wave. But it doesn't really.
Yeah. It's a little hard to get the perspective of what's going on because you're so narrow on that. But you can just set that. But even if you don't do that, right, you have them, you just set one there and then you do this. The one that's nice about just setting it on a tripod, it can be there and you just do your thing. Don't even have to worry about it. You can throw it into one of these AI tools. It'll just do a time lapse. It'll just kind of skip through. Other nice thing about content right now, you can skip over the you knows, those types of things when you're talking, and people expect that. Like it almost, you would think it'd be a little jarring, like as it cuts. YouTube videos, everyone's seen them, where it's kind of cutting and it's skipping the in between comments. All that stuff, it just is natural for people. They're kind of expecting that. So the tripod that sits right there, and then the last piece that I have is it's just literally like a wireless mic that plugs into the bottom of your phone. This one's really straightforward. $20 on Amazon, not that big of a deal. This one's USB-C, also Lightning. And I'd say the biggest piece, I'd say the biggest thing when you watch a piece of content, you're watching Netflix, you're watching, you name it. There's usually a thing hanging up here that's sound, that's capturing the sound that you'll find if you're ever outside talking, the sound just doesn't sound very good. You do need like something like this. So if you're going to be talking, it's really straightforward. And this is also very common too. People just hold the mic and talk. It doesn't have to be, you can kind of clip it here. If you're going to be talking, just put it right there and it plugs right into the phone. Don't have to do much. But you could literally hold it. Like you've seen a lot of the videos of people talking. You can just kind of hold it and talk. I'd say 50% of people watch with the captions on. So most people are going to have captions anyways. But between those three things, you literally can just have just a neck, first person view. Doesn't have to be some fancy GoPro with the mounts and all this stuff, right? Just literally capturing that. A little tripod, you could just film what you want, or use the Apprentice as your tripod, also fully functional. They go get you the tool and they hold the camera for a bit. That's people do that too. That's a nice use of their time sometimes. And then just the talking into the mic. I mean, it really makes a world of difference to just have a simple mic. It also helps give it a feel too that kind of resonates with people that you're talking into that. If you're inside, not a big deal. But if you're out on the job site, that could definitely, you're trying to, hey, I'm going to explain what I'm doing while all sorts of commotions going on. You're going to get back and it's not going to be really audible. It's going to have some kind of tough time just posting that, or your editor is going to have some serious work to do, like messing with the audio to get it to work. Just kind of hold simple Bluetooth, audio camera there. You can clip it, makes a big difference.
I mean, that's pretty much the line, like in the sample for us. We're like, make sure you have the mic. Like when we give all our clients the links to, there's so many. I mean, even I just got one of the new, I see you're using a Rode mic there as well. Represent the Aussies, but there's a new Rode lapel phone mic, and I agree with you. Like every time I shoot like content per se, I do it off my iPhone because it's just easier. It lives. I can just upload directly into the app that I'm using. My editor can get it. Like it's just super, and the quality of the cameras are incredible on those phones.
Incredible now. They're waterproof now. That was the big moment where it kind of stepped up to, hey, because you're doing some of these. I mean, there is a bit of, you got to just have a case. But now that it fits to the GoPro level of durability, where it's waterproof, you put it in a case, and the quality is great. I mean, it doesn't need to be anything more than that. Android Pixel works too.
Yeah, the only other thing I'd probably add to it is lighting. Like it's important, if you guys are filming content, like you can see that the light is on. If you're watching this anyway, I have lights that are facing me so you can see me. You don't have lights behind you, so. Sometimes, if you're filming in front of a window, for example, we can't actually see your face because it's so well lit from behind that you're like essentially a shadow. So just think about some of these things. But I would just say to guys, just like do a dummy run and look at it. Like you don't have to be, Steven Spielberg to figure out that you can't see your face on the test. Like make sure that you've got some decent sort of lighting there, because
it's funny you said that. Like I said, I dabble in cinematography, and I'd say those are the two. They're almost like the unsung heroes. The sound and the lighting, they make such a big impact, but they just go under the hood. You don't really know that that's going on. Like the amount of lighting that goes into some of your favorite movies is crazy. They spend 2 hours just getting the lights to look normal, right. To look like it's in a natural room. And that's probably one of the biggest things you'd think, oh, I got this awesome window behind me. I want to make sure I get this cool view, right? But then it's going to be all blown out and just be pure white, and your face is going to be a little bit gray. You're not going to be able to see it. That's probably one of the biggest ones that people will just try because, it's great to have the light. But literally just film it. And it's so nice nowadays that people are expecting just authentic. You grab the camera. I'm just going to tell you what I'm doing real quick. I'll flip to a quick shot of me fixing the thing. Then I have a shot just from the outside to give a little bit more perspective of what the deck looks like and that stuff. That's it. That's all you need to do. Those three things.
And when you're shooting outside, it's probably the lighting is probably it's not as relevant in the sense that it should be naturally lit. I mean, provided you're not like the sun's directly behind you kind of thing. But I guess like indoors, yeah, just think about that. Like if it's a case of just getting a little light on another tripod facing towards you, like a dim light or whatever, or just turn the lights on. Like sometimes you get a lot of shadows, but it's still better than nothing. It's still better.
The best other hack, just grab your apprentice, tell him to turn his flashlight on his iPhone on, and just point that at you like that. Yeah. If you just do that, that can make a big difference too. Just someone around you, they're going to have a Pixel or an iPhone. Put the flashlight on, put that on you. You know, if it's a little bit dark, it makes a difference.
Well, man, this has been good. I hope you guys have taken something from that. I really do. Like, I can't encourage you enough to start getting out there and getting your hands dirty with content, because for the better part, as I already mentioned, your competitors won't do it, which means that you have this great opportunity to really, own that space within your vertical. And the beauty of what you guys do is you don't have a lot of competition in that space. Like for me, as a marketing agency, to create video content that, you go, not that I'm interested so much in going viral, but like every marketing agency creates content online because they understand it. Whereas you guys in the trades, like there's not a lot of plumbers out there that are doing it very well. So, it doesn't take a lot to get good results. We've got one of our clients who's in Adelaide, is a solar guy who's got literally hundreds of thousands of followers, maybe millions on TikTok, like just because he gets out there and he just does it. It's nothing amazing. It's just regular, and he does it as part of their cadence. It's part of the process, and it's amazing. And those guys are crushing it.
Yeah, so, you'd be surprised how much some person you don't know kind of starts following you. I was just talking to this guy, and he started following a mechanic, and he's like, I just love his content. I might have, some people aspirationally, should I have been a mechanic? Then he ends up calling him and goes and brings his car to him, and he's like further across town. He never would have done that, right? It's just one of those things where you just never know who you're going to connect with your personality coming through when you're just showcasing what you do anyways. That's the biggest thing. You just be yourself, really. You just showcase what you do, showcase what you get pumped about, excited about on the job, and it makes a big difference. You'll really see it.
Logan, before we wrap up, just give us a quick overview into where people can find you and what you primarily do these days, because I know what we've talked about today is not really that.
Yeah, absolutely. So you can find us at thetrades.com, trades with a Z, TRADEZ.com. What we're doing is we, like I like to say, just getting people stoked on the skilled trade. So bringing that GoPro background. And in America, there was a little bit of a stigma of, hey, maybe they go for a university just no matter what. And we're trying to bring that excitement that the trades are a really great route. It's not plumber crack like you've seen, giving it like, hey, we're going to go find people who could basically be GoPro athletes, but they're in the trades, right? I mean, it's almost like a real world action sport. Some of the stuff these guys are doing up on the roofs, fixing. So making content, getting people excited about that, and then acting a little bit like the Army recruiter where, hey, are you interested in the trades? Let's help connect you to the right path. We're training people online and then getting them placed in jobs right away so that they can learn on the job, level up, and get certified.
Awesome. Well, it's great, man. Well, I look forward to chatting to you in the future for sure. I think as this space evolves, especially on the tech front, with, as we mentioned offline, the sunglasses that can record now and all these things that make creating content so much easier. I think this space will probably evolve pretty rapidly, and AI and all this other stuff. So mate, look forward to connecting in the future and sort of seeing where this ends up. Yeah,
that sounds great. Love to do it.
Awesome. Well, let's wrap this up. For you guys out there, if you want any more information or you want to get hold of Logan, you can head across to the siteshed.com, search a Logan, and this episode will show up with all of the links to his social handles and businesses and things like that. Otherwise, that is a wrap. Hey guys and girls, how would you like all of the value adds left behind from our podcast guest all put together in the one spot? We've pulled every tool together, every template, every resource shared on the show, and we've packed them all into the Tradie Academy. It's free to join and it's built by the team behind the SiteShed and Tradie Web guys. Inside, you'll get marketing tips, business tools, and first access to future resources, all in one simple dashboard. Just head across to tradie.wiki/pod. That's tradie.wiki/pod. The link's in the episode description. And once again, you just log in once and then you're all set. And if you want to get notified of upcoming episodes, hit subscribe or follow.